I wanted to follow up with the last question. The last part of the question from our work today. So what you're seeing on the screen here is, sorry. So the last part was find the time of day after 12 p.m. where there's at least 3 meters of water. So just a quick recap, we set the equation equal to 3 that we wrote, and then we solved it carefully, and we get all the way down here. This was all done in class to 8.1086 hours. Now, that's not time after 12 p.m. right now, right? That's 8 hours after midnight is when the height of the water will be back at 3. So if you think about your graph right now, your time starts at 0 hours, which is midnight, and runs horizontally to the right. So at this point right here, at 8.1086 hours, so right here, the height of the water is at 3 meters. You can see it intersect the green curve that we have. So the hard part was, well, we're trying to find the time after 12 p.m., right? So after this 12 o'clock hour, which would be this point of intersection about here. Now, remember, my graph isn't to scale, it's a sketch, but that's the point of intersection we're looking for. So if we think about this logically, I have a minimum point right here at 10.45, and there's symmetry, meaning that this section right here, that distance is identical to this distance over here where the point is from symmetry. So if I can find this distance right here, I can do that by subtracting 8.1086 hours from 10.45 hours, that minimum value right there. And once I have that value, I can add it to 10.45, and that'll give me my point of intersection right there. So when I do that subtraction, I have it over here to the left. 10.45 minus 8.108 gives me 2.34 hours, which is this measurement, right? 2.34. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that to the 10.45 hours so I can find this point. And that's the math right there. So it gives me about 12.79 hours. Now, this is just the beginning of that interval of time, right? So at this point, the tide is increasing. We're at 3 meters right now, and it's going to get higher. You can see the curve here, right? So it's going to get higher, and then it's going to start dropping back down towards low tide again. So eventually, we're going to hit a point in this window of time that the depth of the water goes below 3 meters. So we kind of need to find this entire interval right here, right? So my interval starts at about 12.79 hours after midnight, and then it's going to end somewhere over here. I just need to figure out what that is. So it's not as complicated as you think. If you think about this point right here, I know we usually don't measure periods this way, but this is, if we start the beginning of our wave, our cycle here, it goes down to 10.45, it goes back up to the line of us, the 3 meter line, and then it continues to increase, and then it's going to go back to the 3 again. At this point right here, that's one full period, because now that the water goes below, that's going to kind of repeat the wave where it is right here, okay? So we know the period of our graph. We calculated the period of our graph earlier, and we got the period to be about 12.4 hours. So that means from this point right here to this point right here is 12.4 hours. That's one full period. And I'm looking for this interval of time. So I know that this, I know these two segments here. I know that interval of time. So I can find that total interval of time from 8.10 hours to 12.79 hours using a subtraction problem. So I'm going to do that subtraction. So that's going to be 12.79 minus 12.1086. That gives me 4.6 hours, right? So 12.79 minus 8.1086 gives me 4.6814 hours. That's the interval of time right here. Okay. We need to remove this part from the period. The period is 12.4 hours. And when I remove that, I'll get my interval of time right here that I need. So I'm going to take 12.4 hours, 12.4 hours, and I'm going to subtract the value we just got, 4.6814 hours. And that's giving me about 7.7186 hours. Right? So again, now that we have this, that's good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to subtract this from the period. So the period's 12.4 hours minus 4.6814 hours. That gives me 7.7186 hours. So there's a window of time that starts about 12.79 hours after midnight. So it starts right here, and it's going to last for about 7.7 hours until we get to this point all the way over here, okay? Now, if we needed to actually identify the specific time of day, we're going to have to convert those hours into time of day. But for now, our answer would be the boat can moor, right? Is that what the question was asking? Sorry. Boat can, what's the question? Boat can moor, right. In 3 meters of water in the interval and that interval starts at 12.79 hours less than or equal to t less than or equal to, and then we got to find the last interval there. So I'm going to add 7.7 to that. And I get 20.5086. So that would be 20.51. So this is saying at 12.79 hours after midnight, all the way to 20.51 hours after midnight, the boat can safely moor in 3 meters of water. I just wanted to kind of clarify that because we didn't get to finish it. And that's it, yeah.